Hey everyone, so today we are making bread. Now when you're on a grain-free, dairy-free, refined sugar-free, carb-free diet, then you are not going to get bread like it is in the shops, okay? Now this is okay because if it gives you health, then that's, you know, the price you pay. So you do become used to the bread that we have on this kind of diet. Now you can make a sweet bread or a savoury bread. Today we're making a plain savoury bread, so it could be used for jam on toast, or it could be used for scrambled eggs on toast, or eggy bread, or whatever you want to make with it, or have a sandwich. And it freezes really well. You bake it as a loaf and you slice it up and then pop it in the freezer, and you can grab slices as and when you want them. It's absolutely fine. It freezes really well. So today we are making, it's a recipe by Danielle Walker from Against All Grain. It's slightly modified, adapted I should say, not modified. Her recipe works really well. It's just that sometimes I've not always got the ingredients, and so I'll wing it sometimes and I'll throw other ingredients out and they turn out okay. So today we're making, it's like a cashew bread. So if, it does have that cashew taste. Now the recipe does require 3 cups of cashews. But you can use almonds instead. I'm going to use part cashews, part ground almonds. Okay, so to start off with, we're going to do all this in a blender, and it's great if you've got a really good blender because it needs to blend down those cashews and make it nice and smooth, because you don't want bits in your bread. So you need a really good food processor or a really good blender to be able to get the texture right in this. If you are worried about your texture and your blender's not great, then go with ground almonds instead, because then you don't have to worry about that. Now, because we are doing a blender, we don't want all the dry ingredients to get stuck at the bottom, so we're going to put all the wet ingredients in first. So we're starting off with 8 eggs. Yes, 8 eggs. And they're just normal size eggs. They're not large, they're not small, they're just medium. And so we're just going to pop those in the blender. Okay, so that's the wet ingredients in first. So next to follow with the wet ingredients is 1/2 cup of nut milk. So I've got cashew nut milk here, which is the Plenish brand that I get from Asda or Sainsbury's. So that's the milk. Then we've got 4 teaspoons of apple cider vinegar. So I'm going to pop those in there. Apple cider vinegar, you can get it from most supermarkets, or you can get it from a Whole Food store or Holland & Barrett. So apple cider vinegar, it kind of gives it that yeasty taste, I find, but yeah, that's another one of the ingredients. That's all the wet ingredients. We've got the eggs, the milk and the apple cider vinegar. Then we're going to put the nuts in. So we've got I've got 1 cup of cashews here. So I'm going to pop those in with those wet ingredients, and then don't think too much about, you know, whether it's level or heaped or anything, just stick it in. Okay, so that's 2 cups of cashews, and then I'm going to put 1 cup of ground almonds in. Okay, so I've got a cup of ground almonds in. You can see it's slightly raised there, but if you kind of pat it down, it goes level. So you want about a level cup. So pop that in. And then we're going for 7 tablespoons of coconut flour. Now I'm going to count these out loud, otherwise I lose count. I don't have a long attention span. So 1, 2, 6, 7. Okay, and I leveled those all off before I pop them in. Okay, so 7 tablespoons of coconut flour. Then we've got 2 teaspoons of baking soda. Now they call it baking soda in America, but it's just bicarbonate soda. So 2 teaspoons of that. Okay, and then about 1 teaspoon of salt. And I just kind of guessed this because I have rock salt that I grind, and so I don't have table salt that I just measure by the spoonful. So that's it. That's all the ingredients in, and then we blend it, okay? And it doesn't take long to blend. Okay, so I'm just going to blend this now. As always, I pulse first, just to combine. So so that's it blended, and I've got a loaf liner. It's a large loaf tin that we're going for here, and I've got a loaf liner because life's too short to be cutting up greaseproof paper and sticking it in there. But if that's what you need to do, then that's what you need to do. I suggest lining this. Whatever you're going to line it with, line it. As long as you don't use cling film, that might melt. But use some kind of greaseproof or baking parchment, something like that, in order to do it. So here, I'm going to show you the consistency we've got here. So it's like a really thick semolina, I guess, or a really thick instant oats like ready break. So we're gonna run that into there. It is very much like a thick batter, nothing like a dough, nothing like a dough at all. Okay, so we're just going to scrape this all out and get it in, but pop it in the oven. You're looking at guess mark 3, 170, 325, or if you've got a fan oven, you're looking at 150. Okay, and you're looking about between 45 minutes and an hour to bake this. You also should put a baking container in there, like a small casserole dish or something that's got water in it to provide some steam and moisture in the oven to keep this nice and moist. I have to say I did forget to do that once and it was fine, so don't worry if you forget that step. All right, so we're going to pop this in the oven and then we're going to come back and I'll show you the finished product. Okay, so here we are back with the bread out of the oven. I've stuck a cake tester in it and it's come out nice and clean. That's how you want it, nice and clean, nothing on it. And so we're going to take it out of this and I'll just show you. There you go. So we're just going to turn it out of the tin. And I'm just going to show you how I slice it up to just under 1 centimetre in width across. So I'll just do a couple and then I'll show you. Like so. Okay, still quite hot, you can see that. So you can see there, it's about a finger width. I've got little fingers, so. But yeah, that's about 1 centimetre in width. And so I'll slice that all the way down into all the slices that it is. And then obviously you leave it to cool a bit longer than this, but I've run out of time. So I needed to do this video before I go out. So slice it up, and the next section will show you what I do with the bread once it's frozen. Okay, so I just wanted to show you what I do with my bread once it's cooked and I slice it up. I freeze it, okay, and I just use a freezer bag, and I actually use they're actually burger wax circles for separating burgers when you've made your own burgers. I could do that recipe soon. And I use that to kind of separate between them, because if you don't separate it with something, you could just use greaseproof papers, just squares of greaseproof paper, and you could pop them in between to stop them freezing together. I just slice it in the freezer like that in a freezer bag, and then I can get out slices as and when I want it. So I'm just going to pop it in the toaster and I can just toast it straight from frozen, and then I can put on it whatever I want to. So I can make a sandwich with it, or I could just let it defrost and then make a sandwich out of it. I'm going to have a bit of jam on toast because that's what I like, and I'm going to have lots of butter. It will last in the freezer. It doesn't last very long with me because I eat it, but I would say at least a month. You could leave it in the freezer for. After that, it kind of takes on a taste of that, you know, that freezer taste when you leave stuff in there like months and months and months. Well, this kind of takes it on a little bit quicker than that because there's no preservatives or anything in it, so it's going to be less stable. So if you're thinking of batch cooking, then that's fine so long as you're going to eat it, but I wouldn't do too much. Okay, so any questions, then just pop them in the comments and I'll do my very best to answer them. subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss any videos, and you'll hopefully see the ones that are coming up. We've got lots of exciting things coming up. We're going to do hot cross buns, we've done ice cream, we're going to do lovely dinners. We're going to have some good dinner ideas, and they're all going to be free from. So I am a bit of a baker, so there's going to be lots of baking coming up, breads and buns and muffins and cookies and millionaire shortbread and all of that lovely stuff. So yeah. So maybe, I think I'm going to do soon, I fancy some peanut butter cookies. Peanut butter is great. So we're going to do some peanut butter and raisin cookies soon. So that will be coming up as well. But subscribe and you won't miss anything. Okay, talk to you all soon. See you in the kitchen next time. Bye.